Thank you all for attending today. I know you're going to enjoy this informative webinar on publishing. Our speaker has a lot of material to cover, so let me give just a brief introduction. Maria Murnane is the author of the romantic comedy Perfect on Paper. The book was initially turned down by several major publishing houses, so Maria self-published and implemented a grassroots marketing campaign in an effort to prove the publishing houses wrong, and it worked. The award-winning novel attracted the attention of senior executives at Amazon, who chose it out of more than 10,000 self-published titles for the company's new venture into traditional publishing. They offered Maria a contract, and in 2010, an updated version of Perfect on Paper was released by the Amazon Encore imprint in the United States. Since then, it has also been published by Random House in Germany and Alexandra Publishing in Hungary. Maria's next book, Esequo, is scheduled for release at the end of 2011. With that said, I'll turn it over to Maria.
Hi, thank you everyone. I'm so excited to do this webinar. I've been waiting for this day. So let's jump right in because I have a lot of material that I want to cover. So I'd like to start with just explaining why I'm doing this webinar. And as Chris mentioned in her nice intro, my goal from the beginning was to get a traditional publishing contract, and I got there, but I kind of went through the ringer along the way. But the good news is because of all of that, I learned an incredible amount about self-publishing and traditional publishing that I can share with you today. And I've also found myself in sort of a unique situation because I have firsthand experience with self-publishing and traditional publishing. So by sharing it now, I'm hoping that I can save you some of the pain I went through because it was a bit of a rocky road for me, and I'm hoping that it won't be that way for you. Okay, so with that said, oh, and by the way, here's some cool pictures of my book. This is me, like, at the computer where I'm sure all of you have spent a ton of time. This is the self-published version of my book, and then this is the new cover that Amazon Encore came out with, which has now been translated into Hungarian. And then in Germany, they did a different cover, which was kind of fun. And then this is me at a bookstore. It's kind of a dream come true, finally being there and selling books. Okay, so anyway, with that said, what I'd like to cover in this call is basically outline the differences between traditional and self-publishing and explain step-by-step how they work. And then I'd like to talk about the benefits and the drawbacks to each, as well as the do's and don'ts. And in the do's and don'ts is where I can share with you some of the mistakes I made that cost me quite a bit of money actually on the self-publishing side, so I'm hoping you can avoid those mistakes. And then I thought it would be great to share some writing tips for those of you who are still working on getting that first manuscript completed, some tips for what worked for me. And then we'll open it up to Q&A, at which point, at the end of it, Chris then will jump back on the call and she'll explain to you how to send in your questions. Okay. Now, as you begin this process, it's really important for each of you to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because while my goal was to get a traditional publishing contract, and I use self-publishing, for example here, self-publishing as a stepping stone to that, a lot of people have other goals in writing books. So I've listed some of them here. Everyone has a different reason, but I just want to point this out because it really makes a big difference in how you choose to pursue your path. So for example, if you find your mother's diaries and you decide to do something with them and turn them into a book and share them with your family at a family reunion, you might want to only make 20 or 30 copies of that book, in which case self-publishing would be a great option for you. And then on the business side, I meet a lot of people who run their own businesses, they're consultants, and they know that having the author title behind their name will really build their brand, help them charge more for their services, help them get more speaking engagements, and help them get more customers. And if that's you, you might not care how your book is published, you just want to have a book. So asking yourself these questions will really help you figure out which route you want to pursue. So the key is to get a good understanding of how self-publishing and traditional publishing work, and then choose a route for you that makes sense based on your goals as an author.